Hello.
Hello, Rachel.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm getting better
Better
day
after?
after day. What?
Better after what?
Better after a multi-dimensional cosmic storm. Uh, yeah, I can say, yeah, really experience something we can call the dark night of the soul for a few years, where all the shadows and all the non-awareness and all the pain and all the dimension um, presents themselves to me to show, yeah, to ask me to pass to another step of my life. And I was really cursing this experience for a long time because I couldn't understand why me, why was I supposed to pass through such an intense experience when I compare this experience to other people's life, and yeah, why me? And step by step, I begin to really understand and integrate that it's actually a huge opportunity for me to reach a completely new level of existence, of being, of enjoyment of myself, and of acceptation and understanding. And so I'm beginning to ride the wave. There is still moments where my head go down the water, but day after day, the moments where I can breathe oxygen and light get bigger and longer, and my faith is growing again.
So I can understand from this that you start to move out of the victim position.
Yeah, I can say it like this. Yeah.
So you realize that somehow this is what kept you where you have been until now.
Mm, yes, but it is not only about, of course, it's what it is, but to understand this and to fully, yeah, understand it, I mean, it needs to be deconstructed and to witness all the influences that maintain you into this position and which you are not aware. So it's about, yeah, it's a lot of the influences that maintain you in this position is through unconsciousness and
Mm-hmm.
to and uh, and so yeah, so life will and universe will continue to put you down until the experience is so strong that it helps you to explode and explore this non-consciousness somehow.
Actually, from my point of view, it's a little bit different, and I will share with you this. It's more like a spider in a network,
Mm-hmm.
and you are the spider, and the network is what you have been constructed until now in your past life and with your what is called transgenerational family. So all your ancestors.
Yeah.
So therefore, the fact that you are in that network is there. What is new for you now is to understand that you somehow have been created this, and also you are a part of a bigger network.
Mm.
So therefore, it look like things which are, let's say, influencing you that you may feel that is not belonging to you.
Yes, that's somehow you have to. I had to witness that all of this is my responsibility in one point of view, and another point of view, it's also about transpersonal things, and somehow I have the responsibility to unlock the situation, but it goes beyond me and my own problems. I also work for a collective consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
from time to time, yeah, understanding one position or the other, one point of view or the other, help me to, yeah, to release uh, heaviness. And yeah.
Exactly, that's the reason why first we need to move by ourselves into this kind of situation to be able later on also to do in a bigger scale. But if we don't understand how the process goes individually, there's no way to can sustain what is coming after because it's way bigger.
Yeah, I think it always get bigger, and more you work on yourself, more it get the work continues, but it just become more transpersonal. You
Yes,
go to help others, you go to other many dimensions, and you just continue whatever you do in bigger scales. Yeah,
yeah.
and the challenges get bigger.
Of course, because also the responsibility is increasing.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Then the things are moving well, not easy, but in the right direction.
yeah, feels like, mm, yeah.
Okay, that's good. The reason why I invite you into this conversation it was to ask you if you want to share something from the experience that you had over the years with me and with the work that I'm doing and how this helped you or what kind of impact had in your life and even now in the recent part, the last, let's say, coaching and hypnosis, how it's called, session.
Mm.
About anything from this, you are free to say whatever you consider appropriate.
Yeah, I was trying to think a bit about what I wanted to share to everyone about my personal process on your company. And a funny things about our relationship, it is like as a shaman, I think in all the ceremonies we had, I never, maybe one or two, but I never experienced really deep trance states with you in your ceremonies. And but it was all the I think I received a lot from you, from the um, holistic practice you join to the ceremonies you organize. And for me it was really a guideline to integrate and practice my own experiences. And our first encounter, it was really big for me for many reasons, different reasons. And
If you want to say when and where it was this one that you referred to.
how old was I? I was 21, I think, 22, and we were in a European rainbow gathering in Lithuania, and so it
Okay.
was 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, you just proposed to me to play music for a holotropic breath session,
Okay. Now I
and
start to remember.
after this, it was one particular woman entering a very specific process, and after this practice, you were talking about everybody, about aliens, technology, manipulation, and I was, what? Where does it come from? Like it's a joke or what? And I really thought you were crazy, and I even felt like some kind of uh, anger against you that you opened this topic with, yeah, like this, without pedagogy somehow, like not caring about where we were all in our own process. And this was the dark side of our first encounter for me, and it was a bright side which I will explain later. And but because of the bright side I experienced, like I really continue to be in contact with you. We met again in Peru for this famous retreat, and then I was pulling the string of my own process, my own experiences. I was doing a lot of experience with plants in Peru and then back in Europe, and all the things you were talking about, I could experience them for myself. All entity, past life, all kind of crazy crap. And then each time once I would experience a new dimension, I would refer to our common discussion back then, and say, okay, now I understand what he was
So
talking.
he was not really crazy.
And for a few years I was identifying a lot to these visions, to this dimension in which our blockages represent themselves as a entity, as demons. And this helped me a lot to go forward in my understanding of what is reality. And then I began to a little bit stop identifying too much to these pictures, to these things. And yeah, in the end, it's very interesting to experience these blockages in this way, but depending to the dimension from which you observe this phenomenon, it can take many different forms.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears through many different forms. Either it is karmic, transgenerational, just biographic. It can be demons or just blockages, programs, fears, social programming, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
wherever you enter whatever is the dimension you observe the things, it is just about understanding how to drop
Operate there. How to operate there.
and drop the non-necessary things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Continue life. And
Now, if we make an exercise of imagination, how it will be to have this experience without knowing my explanation, and to just be there without knowing anything. How do you think it would be?
it will be even more intense. It is already intense. Well, I was also searching, to access information through any door possible on the internet. There is quite a lot of people beginning to talk about these topics, but for sure you were my anchor in reality, to my guideline. And this is special because you were my guide on these experiences. And but we all did it from afar. Like, I didn't experience it in your ceremonies, but you were always open and for me to come back to you and ask you questions. And like, this is really rare in this self-development social dimension. Like, often I was trying to come back to people which were leading or holding spaces, and they were just not they didn't have time, to you buy a product and then they let you go, and then you cannot come back to
It's
this person.
finished.
Yeah.
The package is limited.
And on this point of view, like, your holistic approach and disponibility, I never encountered it anywhere else. And the bright side, which I experienced in Lithuania, along with the dark side, which were for me a dark side at this moment, it was I was beginning to travel, but I was really strongly holded by the matrix somehow. At this moment, I was quite young, and I already had strong spiritual experiences, spontaneous, and also with medicine and plant. But I was one of the big things which were um, blocking me at this moment. It was the addiction to tobacco, to cigarettes, and it was not the first holotropic breath ceremony we had, but you proposed me to participate to a second one, and I entered the interesting experience, but not intense at all. But after this, once we came back, you had this talk, and you were talking about these common things in in the new age environment, that we all have a mission that we incarnate for, to incarnate this mission and to pass through these experiences. But so it was quite touching for me at this moment. I think I already heard about this many times, but somehow it touched me really deep. I don't know really how or why, but it just helped me to remember myself, that beyond all my blockages, all my limitation, it was a huge and amazing space to explore. And beyond my addiction to tobacco, behind my emotional addictions, and it just gave me a huge motivation to go to meet this space. And I think the whole point about the matrix control system, if we can speak about it in these terms, is to make you forget that this exists, because somehow with a good motivation is not so difficult to okay, I won't smoke today, I won't enter this pattern or this other pattern, but to maintain yourself, and you just forget why you want to go out of this pattern, because you forgot that there is incredible spaces behind. And you reminded this to me at this moment, and it was a big shift. So I was stopping to smoke just after this, and I gained a lot from this, and step by step. So you continue explore life, and there is more traumas, which addition to the previous traumas, and somehow you can easily forget this again. But it was always Horatio to remind me my responsibility to if I really want to enjoy my life, to take the responsibility and to do whatever I can to do it, to break the leash and get free. And for this reason, your work is very dear to me, and you as a friend and as a guide as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Now I am a bit, about all this, like I really share your point of view about what is the work, and I think you initiate me to your work, and I feel that I will perpetuate your work in my own colors. And now at this time in my life, I'm really questioning the tools to access these experiences of liberation. And I was practicing a lot, as you were advising, with medicinal plants, with psychedelic plants, and this was very nourishing, and I was so fascinated. But now I am passing through, I really question the use of these tools, and it feels like they are at least as much dangerous as they are giving, and some more than others. But we also share this questioning. And
yes, but it's a good moment also for me to confirm that also in my case, I'm distancing myself more and more from this. And also the good thing is also that I have also now new tools that I can use. And I'm still using this knowledge and this experience, but I'm not, how to say, inviting the people to continue too much anymore with this practice or substances or plants or how we want to call them. They can still be, let's say, maybe rare, let's say maybe as a curiosity, or maybe in some very specific moments. But for example, with the tools that I have now, which means coaching, hypnosis, body work, and a few more things that I'm learning now. It's still possible to work without any, and also the breath work. And now more and more I'm moving into dancing. So there are enough tools to can do the work without any intake. And the results can be comparable. Also today, for example, I put a video in my Facebook profile in Romanian for the people to learn that actually there is a very beautiful technique, which probably also you know, the circular breathing I was presenting in Peru in the retreat. And I start to make this also, how to say, public, that it's a very good technique to be used. So also that can be an amazing practice. Very easy, very accessible, easy as a technique, not easy as a practice, but with amazing results. So basically, for doesn't matter who, if the people really want to work correctly, let's say like that, honestly, we can find a method. Also can be with cacao, which is way more gentle if we still want to have something. But the power medicine, I'm distancing more and more. I'm not really recommending them too much anymore. And one of the reasons why this is because, first of all, I realize myself, as you recognize as well, that most of them have an opinion and sometimes even an interest. And also there are many different kind of entity attached to the, let's say, work or to the spirit in general. And this with entity, it's also one part which is by default, and another part it is because of the misuse over the time. So from my point of view, to use ayahuasca now is completely different comparing using it 10 years or 20 years ago, for example. So when I start to use it 13 years ago, I was inviting people to go. Now I'm saying think twice, or maybe don't go. So it's a big shift in on my side as well.
It brings me to another thought about our encounter and about all kind of spiritual practices, that there is a very strong influence from New Age that bring us to search for, the great spiritual master, and we are searching for this figure, and because we are searching for someone that would give us the answer and that would permit us to just drop the self how to say the self ability to think for ourselves what is good for us. And and I observed that I could project this in you, and then to the medicinal plants, to ayahuasca, to San Pedro, to whatever I found. And it was a big process for me to deconstruct this and to recognize the human inside you, and then the spirit inside the plant, which has its own opinions. And this opinion was so nourishing and inspiring for some time in my life. But then I understood that each time I would have an experience with psychedelic, it would bring me to this idea that maybe what I'm supposed to do with my life is to become a psychedelic priest or a shaman or whatever. And step by step, I was entering the space with more and more power. The last times I would sing articulate into language I wouldn't know, with so much power. And yeah, of course I was addicted to this power, to become this channel for such powerful energy. And I was pulling this string, and then I had a huge it was many questioning on the journey, but first witnessing my own research of power and how this would just take me out of my center. And then And then yeah, it feels like the all practices, all tools, once it become big enough, it nourishes the egregore, which wants to continue to grow. So it pushes you. Yeah, so psychedelics typically now it became a religion, and once you connect, it wants more worshippers, and and
Yes,
to understand this, it was a big step to claim my freedom back. And
yes, yes. That's a very important step because it's also important into this to realize that it's a tool, it's not a goal, and also that, like you say, to keep your freedom and to not become trapped and part of another system. So here it's where the things need to be addressed and understand more, and this is where also I can see the wide attitude is not understood, and therefore also I'm separating myself from that, let's say, egregore, because I feel it's toxic when it's like that.
mm,
And therefore I'm not supporting that kind of behavior. And also regarding what you say, you watching me as a guru or something, you know that I never feed that attitude. And this is not only with you, but it's in general. For me, the guru attitude, now that you mentioned it, is still a victim attitude, because you are still looking for a savior instead to save yourself and to get out of the victim position. So for me, the guru is still a savior, and the people still keep themselves in a victim position where they are waiting for somebody to initiate them, to save them, to tell them what to do. And exactly this is one of the things that I try as much I could not to do. Even I was doing quite a lot, I was still kind of holding myself to do less and less and less. And this is also one of the change that I'm inside now. In the beginning, we can say that what I was doing is was more like mentoring, meaning when I was speaking with somebody, I was kind of guiding that person out of my experience and giving advice regarding that. Now, the change, which is in my case, is that I start to learn about coaching, and now I'm applying more and more from this. And into this case, it's not about me, it's about the person which is coming to work with me. And about me, it's only to learn to put the right questions or the useful questions. But the answer should come from the person who want the help. So I'm putting the question, the people answer, and through this kind of conversation, question, reply, all the answers and all the solution are coming from the one who want the help. So basically all the answer is and all the solution is there, not mine. And I consider that it's a big difference, and I'm moving more and more into this direction. And then in connection with this, now I also master quite well some techniques of hypnosis. And then for me, coaching and hypnosis is one of the best combination in this moment that I'm using every time when I have the chance. And I think you also experience a little bit of this. So if it's significant and if you want to say something about this, maybe this can be useful as well.
mm. Yeah, just to explain the story to the people who would watch us. I contacted the ratio randomly. I thought it was randomly. I was, yeah, since 1 year I experienced like very big health problems connected to energetic influences. And I was so deep into this and to pain and difficulties that I am, yeah, I was questioning, because I always question everything. Also, maybe the necessity to go to see Ecuadorian curandero to take the ayahuasca in a very traditional way, because I experienced healing from this, but it was not clear inside me because I knew that ayahuasca could influence me psychologically. And and we connected with a ratio at this moment, and yeah, he just proposed me to come back to the purest medicine I could ever find in myself, and to just give myself love. And we had two hypnosis session where, yeah, I was exploring my inner chaos somehow and opening a space for me to give myself this love, and also a lot of motivation to go out of the latest addiction patterns that opened up connected to sexuality and tobacco again, and to emotional attachment to a particular soul. And so I began just to practice this self-love, and it felt really right that it was just the most simple and powerful things, and I really felt in tune with a ratio and this new proposition, these new spaces that he's opening for everyone. And yeah, and I can share a bit about what I understand of the process. It's not directly connected to your ratio, but it's the realization it brought me to have. And we can identify our problems as to our addiction somehow, and I was a bit doing that, but so I was really clarifying the energetic field, stopping all my bullshitting stuff, and my problems, they were still there once I reached a very good energetic level of being, but my problems, they were still there. But because I was clarifying the whole situation, it was helping me to identify the specific influences which come from traumas and memories and different stuff, and having a very kind of ascetic lifestyle. It helps you to be in this clarity, which helps you to understand and pull the string of your problems. And I think it's a first step. You need to clarify the field. Otherwise, everything is foggy and you cannot understand what, where everything is coming from. And yeah, it brought me to very interesting realization. And yeah, this was the last week process. And yeah,
And how is your health condition now?
Yeah, it's getting better. It's getting better. I still have pain and skin's problem, but no, it's getting better. Maybe I will give you more news in 1 or 2 months. I want really to give myself time to, and also, once you clarify, there is some things which can be amplified because there is a process going on, and then yeah, the symptoms are a good way to measure in which place you are, but sometimes when there is a process going on, maybe sometimes it gets bigger. It's because the thing is calling you to explore it, and so I am a bit in this move now.
It's also quite often when it's coming a peak before it's finishing.
A peak, yeah.
A peak before finishing, yes. It's quite common as a process.
Yeah. And I was already explaining you this, but just for everybody to know, yes, the last year there were many cycle in my cleaning process, which is continuing for many years now. But the first time, the first one, it was a bit weird, but it was a lot of karmic memories which rose up into my ceremonies, and I couldn't understand why, but it was not the event from this life, my childhood, and and my family, it was from some things from middle age, older and older stuff which were rising. And then at some point it stopped, and I began to enter in a process where it was all the events from this life which began to rise up, my family explosion, and all the different kind of abandon I experienced in my life. And then after I began this new work connected to a ratio and this new invitation to free myself, it was transgenerational things which began to come and connected to the woman from my mother side. And there is a lot of drama and traumatic experience for a few generation. And so, I could witness all these women like having an influence on my own drama, and that they're, when the souls are not completely released, or when they didn't have the courage to pass completely in the other side, they have this fascination for their own pain and sadness, and they maintain themselves as us into this situation, and they interfere with the living, with the living beings, and they are still there, and they need to be witnessed to be released. And this is what I was doing these last days.
Mm-hmm. And how do you consider you succeed with this?
It's in process, but I'm succeeding to
Okay.
to understand that they are there, and once I understand they're there and they had some things to teach me, once the teaching is received, there is no reason for them to stay in this form, and they just continue their journey.
Yes, and also this is something that you can do step by step. You can go through this process of understanding what is what and with whom and everything, and then releasing at some point, and also can be done after you learn some of these processes and you understand how it's working. You can also do, how to say, not anymore event by event. You can do batches, and also not necessarily one person by the time. So you can take bigger volume of traumas and information, and you can so you don't need to go to the whole thing all the time. This is good in the beginning to understand how it's working, to be sure that you understand the trap, how you can be trapped in such a situation. But when you learn how to not allow yourself to be catch in a trap or to untrap you, then later on you don't have to go one by one. You can take just finish.
Yeah.
This is more like, let's say, educational. It's the hardest part, but also it's good not to be avoided because it's a big lesson into that. But as soon as that lesson is accomplished, there's no need to one by one.
Yeah, that brings me back to this medicinal plant topic, because at the beginning you need the hard pushes you are so not aware of all these dimension building each other on the top of each other, and so you are in ayahuasca or whatever, taking a lot of mushrooms, and then you have a huge vision of an entity which is dragging you down. Either it is someone which is dead or trauma, and then you have this huge revelation, and you need all the details and all the colors to really like not being able to being for the experience to be sure that it will stay with you all your life. And then it gives you a reference point. Okay, I can go so far with my own consciousness and in so many dimensions, and then each time you come back to this dimension, it needs less and less colors. It needs less and less spectacular experiences, and it can only manifest through intuitions. Oh yeah, there is here this or this, and it's just things passing through, As you say, you can gather many packages of many things and continue to more transpersonal once you clear a bit the space.
Yeah.
And in this way, yeah, having psychedelic experience can help you to open this, but then step by step you open your sensitivity, and then
There is no need anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
And also the best way also to do it, even when you use the medicine, to work in parallel with yourself in the daily life. Because otherwise, again, it's not the way to do, which is again, it's quite common. It's not a magic pill. It's one of the tools, one of the methods, but should be supported by the daily practice and by the way how you ground what is shown in the ceremony. Yes. Also, including these videos have the same aim to, how to say, make the people know that we know some of these things, that we already practiced them for many years, that we have been into all kinds of situations. And then whoever will feel curious and who will want to share or learn from here, to know that it's a place where they can come. A place that is safe, a place that can be interesting, sometimes crazy, sometimes beautiful. And then now I intend to make it even more playful. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, let's open intentionally a space for people that are interested in all these topics and that feel attracted by all of this journey of understanding and of liberation and of playfulness, because it's so playful. It's so amazing journey to even to explore the darkest corner of this universe. It's very exciting. And yeah,
the intention now, actually, in my side, is to create more and more long-term events, like the one in Peru, at least 2 weeks to 16 days, and to be similar with that in a sense that will be more than one possibility of ceremony. Not necessarily so many plant medicine, but still different type of ceremonies. Like can be something with breathing, can be something with cacao in a, let's say, sitting setting, can be cacao in a dancing setting. I also now working into creating cacao ceremony which will lead to an orgasmatic experience, and then we'll see what else will come. And also the use of the body work, the use of the coaching, the use of hypnosis, so to create all kind of possibilities where the people can explore from many places whatever is hidden into their subconsciousness, to release what needs to be released, and then to be able to enjoy more and more the daily life and the time that we spend together there. And more moving into dancing, something similar with ecstatic dancing. So the intention is to create this kind of retreats where you have people who can play music, and then we can have all kind of experience with live music.
Yes.
And then hopefully at some point it will be a place which will become stable, where this can be attended non-stop. Anytime, all the time, often, long period. I mean, people who can come to stay there 1 month, 3 months, and to have the possibility to enjoy all kind of things, including also permaculture and natural building and other stuff, and all kind of creative things. So if you want to open the space now, the space is even bigger. This is the intention, and as I can see, we are already moving into that direction. Just today I spoke with somebody who is open to create this kind of ecstatic dance retreats. Oh, I'm looking forward for the moment when we really go into establishing how, and then when, and then where, and then to see when we start to invite the people. From my point of view, if we are quick enough, we'll have it already this winter.
The intention is launched, to come back to your expression.
Yes,
And,
yes.
let's see how universe take care of.
I mean, I want what we experience in Peru to be at least that, and from there more and more and more, bigger and wider and more beautiful, and bigger groups. Yeah, it's already on. Now it's just a matter of when. And like I say, very probably this winter it will be the first. Where, I don't know yet, but the chances are very big. And until then, I will start to move again pretty soon. And then wherever I have people who want, I will start to do again ceremonies in Europe. Ceremonies, consultation on physical, and also even if I'm not moving or doesn't matter where I am, it's still possible to have the one online, which are possible and which are working very well. The same way how it was also with you, the last two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what else do you consider that it will be significant for the people who will be curious to come into whatever is possible here?
Was thinking about something else I wanted to share, but
Okay, go with that. Go with that.
no, I didn't find.
Okay.
No, like this spontaneously, there is nothing more that come for this session.
Okay, then no need to force it.
I love more and more silence.
But that's the point. This is also what happened into our manifestation intention circle. We enjoy a lot of this silence, so we can stay a little bit in silence also now. Because also this is one of the things that I want to share more and more. This specific feeling. And while you experience it, to let the people know that this is something that can be created. And exactly this is the point to do any of the ceremonies that I propose. It's the trick of the mind. That or that or that. But in the end, the point is to come here as a group. And then to expand this more and more until it's reaching enough people to become on a planetary level. And as you can see now, we didn't use any medicine, we didn't make any specific practice, and we are here. And this is what I like the most. It's possible only by talking and focusing the intention.
There is a beautiful story that come in my mind I experienced. It was when I came back from Peru. It was autumn where the apple tree in my mother garden gave so much apples. I don't know how many hundreds of apples. For in the winter, I would eat 2 or 3 of this apple every day, and step by step, I would really had the impression to enter in contact with the spirit of the tree, and I could feel how my consciousness was step by step as I was eating apple, and this apple were getting constitutive of my own body, as the consciousness of the tree, or my own consciousness was existing through this consciousness of this tree, and yeah, so I understood that the modified state of consciousness, we're experiencing them in every second of our life, and every energetic exchange, either it is with a person, with a topic of discussion, with a plant, with food, with the objects we have around, with the technology we use, is always influencing our own consciousness, and we begin to exist through this other form of consciousness. And that would be another story to say, but that all form of energy, the water that from a river, the sun, they are all unique form of consciousness with whom we interact every day. And it's a part of the journey to decide for ourselves with what kind of energy we want to interact, and what do we want to create around us in this planet. And
That is the foundation of what is called the shamanic practice, exactly what you mentioned now. To be able to connect with different form of existence, to be able to communicate with them, to be able to exchange information and feelings, and then to enrich yourself with that, and then to have a wider understanding of how big actually the creation is around us beyond what we can see in the so-called normal reality. Actually limited and very narrow. And also how things change in a moment when you open yourself and you can perceive way more. And when you can easily communicate with all these things and you realize that they are alive, they are conscious, and they are very happy to connect with you and to play and share and heal and everything.
Yes, they are so playful.
Very playful. So many of them so playful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then we'll have the chance to continue. We'll have the chance to find a way to generate ways to share this knowledge more, to enjoy more, to play more, and hopefully we'll meet also in physical sometime soon.
Yeah, I hope.
And also I can see your guitar and your didgeridoo there waiting to be used. So
And many
hopefully,
others.
and many others. So hopefully you'll have the chance to use them in the ceremonies again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for motivating us for multidimensionality and to break the chain.
Thank you for giving the possibility. Otherwise, I'll be the crazy one speaking in the festival.
Which you are also, but that's good. That's
Actually, I plan to go to 2 festivals this year to do the same thing again. So let's see what will happen this time.
Yeah. Let's trigger universe.
Okay, thank you. See you soon.
Yeah. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.